The last weapon tier list. We're going to do Quincy's this time, so let's get it going. Oathbreaker, a weapon with a ton of surprises. Its passive when you land your crit will give you a damage boost, and it allegedly has double parry frames on block. It might be placebo. When I did use it, it did feel nicer to parry, so if you're having trouble parrying, this could be the weapon for you. Otherwise, though, the weapon is pretty mid. It's got very, very slow M1s. The crit is a two-part, it guard breaks, but only the first slash guard breaks. So once that guard breaks, the second one's going to come through, cancel your guard break, and it's going to mess up your combo. So if you want to use this crit, you do need to guard break them, turn around, miss with the other like slash, and then go into your move, which is a little annoying, but it still is viable. But I really don't like the M1s because they're super slow. I'll put it like B tier, maybe pushing A tier because of the parry frames, but you basically don't have M1s because of how slow they are. Siphon's Wretch, the medic weapon, it's pretty good. It's got okay M1s. They used to be super fast in release, but they did get nerfed to be a fairly reasonable M1. They're still pretty solid though. Crit, you throw out a little like blue slashes, they're going to guard break, and if they hit a teammate, they'll give them a shield that protects them from 5% of damage, which is pretty cool. On release though, if you hit an enemy and had people in party, would just automatically shield people, which is pretty broken. But that is not the case anymore. It's a little more balanced. I'm probably going to put this to... I'll put it C tier. Honestly, it's not a good weapon. If you're on medic, just run like a normal weapon and you'll be doing way better. You don't need a gimmick shield thing. Legacy Murasama. You got two really fast M1s, and then the next three are really slow. So I probably wouldn't M1 past my second M1. Crit, pretty huge AoE. I think it guard breaks and also cripples them for a second, which is pretty cool. This can be really good on some builds when you want to have a ton of pressure on them or just a huge AoE crit. I'm probably going to put this one A tier. It's really good, but the crit is pretty avoidable if you just like kind of move out of the way because it has a lot of wind up, or you could just parry it, to be honest. But still pretty solid because of the cripple. New Murasama, you've got the same kind of M1s. The first two are really fast, the next three have a little more wind up, so I probably wouldn't M1 past the second one again. Crit, depending on if you're sheathed or unsheathed, it'll have two variants. If you're unsheathed, it'll have a lot more wind up and end lag, but you have full hyper armor. The sheath variant, you will have less wind up, less end lag, but it won't have hyper armor. To be honest, this crit is dog shit, to keep it real. It doesn't even do that much damage. It's easy to parry, easy to avoid, and they can just use like 2 moves on you before you get your crit off, and you get like 10 damage off or 15 damage off the crit, and you can't even extend off it. Like, you can't use this normally on most builds, so I'm putting this D tier. At least Siphon's Wretch has like okay M1s and a crit that's semi-decent. This one is just horrible. Quincy Abject, probably one of the best weapons on release, but now it's probably the worst weapon across all races. If you got an okay M1 combo, it's fairly slow. The crit, it used to auto-track and put a ton of pressure on them, so it was amazing for Q-Keto players. But they did nerf it. Now you have to manually aim them. They have more wind-up, and when it hits them, sometimes the sword doesn't even fall back down. And even if it does come down, it's an easy parry. It used to be really good because you could move stack it. Because you have to manually aim it now with like your mouse, and it has more wind-up. It's just not good. It does like no damage now as well, so don't use this weapon. Easy D tier. Yamato, you got those really fast M1s that all Yamatos have, and you've got a crit that is really decent. It's multi-hit, it guard breaks, and then it'll stun them at the very end, throwing them away. But actually, because it doesn't throw them too far away, you can kind of combo extend off this into like a flash cut, flash fake out if you jump towards them. And yeah, it's a really amazing crit. You can also jump to make it go slightly further. I'm going to probably put this S tier. You've got good M1s, good crit, good AoE on it as well, and fairly fast wind-up for the crit as well. Quincy Unstable. It's got okay M1s, probably leaning to the slower end, but it gets the job done for Hakuda. A crit that teleports to them, it's going to do decent posture. So if you play posture, this crit will guard break, but it is pretty easy to parry in my opinion, and it has a ton of wind up. You do have full hyper armor while using it, like in the second half of it, so if you don't cancel it immediately, it'll just go through. I'm probably going to put this like B tier. It's okay, but you really can't use this to like extend off anything. It's more just like a move you throw out as like an extender than like a combo starter like most Hakuda weapons. So I'm going to put it B tier. It's not bad, but it's also not great. Karate, probably one of the best Hakuda weapons, or the best Hakuda weapon on Quincy's. You got fast M1s, and you have a crit that has huge AoE and also up tilts now, which is insane. So it got a huge buff from that. I'm going to probably put this S tier. Nothing else needs to be said. Good M1s, good crit. That's all you need for Hakuda. Twice! No! They removed this weapon. Great Lance, a weapon that is really good and probably my pick for most builds in general. You got good M1s, a good crit, and a passive that makes it so every time you land your crit, it's going to count down from 1 to 3. As you land more crits, your M1s and crits are going to become faster and do maybe more damage. I didn't really check, but I know they do get faster, your M1s and your crit. Your crit also does go slightly further with each crit, which is really cool. And on your third, or once you get to 3 and then crit again, you're going to have the empowered variant where you teleport to everyone around you. If they're blocking, they're going to get guard broken. It's really nice, does okay damage, but it is kind of annoying if you're in a team fight and you teleport to someone else and you don't want to be there, because I think it goes closest to furthest, and yeah, it can get you off the person you want to be fighting. But still really good. I'm going to probably put this S tier. Karen, it's basically the original rapier. It's got good M1s and a crit that lunges you fairly far, does decent posture, but doesn't guard break. Your crit, also, once you land one, the second crit can be activated to do a slash. I believe this one does guard break, actually, so you can use that as a mix-up. You have a little bit of time to activate it. You don't have to do crit into crit immediately. You can do crit, M1, and then do the second variant of the crit, which is pretty cool. Also, once you land the crit 5 times, or parry 5 times, sorry, your rapier will become empowered. It'll have like that charge on it, and it'll do this variant. This one actually is pretty bad in my opinion, because I'd rather have like the fast one. This one has slightly more wind up, but it's whatever. Still really good. I'm gonna put it S tier as well. Reichweite, probably one of the best weapons in the game. Really underrated though. It's got good M1s, good range, and 2 crits that don't share CDs. The ground crit, when you land it, it does decent posture. It won't guard break though, but the black shadow that does hit them a second time will guard break if they're blocking. So the trick is just immediately spam a move once they're hit by this crit, because they'll be stuck in place and they can't do anything until the black shadow hits them. So you can just spam a move, mess up their parry timing, or maybe they'll be blocking to block that move that you use and then get guard broken by the black shadow, allowing you to combo extend off that as well. So just like, it's a free combo extender, free move stack. It's amazing. The aerial crit, this one does decent posture, decent damage, good range, and a surprisingly big hitbox. Most people won't expect it to come out because it's fairly fast. Also, what's cool about this, if you do the ground crit into the aerial crit immediately, it'll hit them with a third shadow that does more damage. But usually I don't do this unless I'm like the moves I want to do like immediately in front of them, like a fast fang or like a floating or a rising swallow or off CD. I'll do the aerial crit because I think it does slightly less damage than if you hit like a real move on them, but still really good. I'm gonna put this S tier as well. Spalton, another really good weapon. You got pretty decent M1s and a crit that dashes like a fast fang, leaving them stunned. I don't think it has any true combos though, but it will force a parry check for them. So if they're on high ping, they might have trouble parrying and it might be a true combo for you. But I really don't like the crit because it's very telegraphed and it's pretty easy to parry. It will guard break though, so like if you're playing against somebody who doesn't know the parry timing, you could probably do really good on it. I'm going to put it A tier. It's definitely not a bad weapon by any means, but I don't think it's the best one you could be running. Warden, a really good weapon, probably the high skill cap weapon for Quincy Hakata. You got good M1s and a crit that extends into a lot of stuff. Comes out fairly fast. I think it doesn't guard break, just does high posture. But once you hit them, it'll have a chain on them. You can recast to pull them back. It's a little inconsistent to pull, like how far it pulls them, depending on where they are. But you can usually do this into like a Gehenna, do it into like a Catch and Dragon, do it into like a bunch of moves, like into a Tor Reach immediately. Like, it's a lot of pressure once you have this on them. I'm actually pretty sure that once you land the crit, the second crit where you pull them back in is unblockable. It might be parryable, I can't remember, but I believe it goes through block and pulls them regardless of what they do. So it's pretty cool. And there's a ton of combos you can start with this. I'm going to put it S tier, but it does take a little more skill to use. Quincy Glock, you've got okay M1s. They're pretty long range, but they do have more windup. Your crit, also pretty long range, has significant windup, but it does guard break as well. Aerial crit, same thing. You have even more windup actually, and then you auto aim your gun. I believe this one does also guard break as well. So it's an okay weapon. I really don't see a point in you using this because all the things have really high windup, and there's weapons that do everything this does, but probably 10x better. So I'm going to probably put it C tier. It's not useless. Maybe you can use it on Keto to spam from afar, but I really don't see a point in you using this weapon when there's anything else in the game you could run. Shadesworn, a weapon with really fast M1s, but a crit that does kill it. It has a pretty long windup on the crit, and then you stand still and do like a spin attack with your blade. So I think it's pretty easy to parry, or just get out of the way when they're critting, and then they have a ton of end lag, and you can just like throw a time cut on them fast fang, and they'll probably get punished for that. So I'm gonna probably put the C tier. Like Quincy Glock, you can run it if you want, but you could just use any other weapon and you'd be better off. Antithesis, you've got pretty decent M1s and a crit that lunges and guard breaks. I believe if you jump before the crit, you can go slightly further. It's definitely viable. It's pretty decent. I'm going to put it B tier. It's not the best, but it gets the job done. Kang Dew Claws. These are really good on ground Hakata or just Hakata in general. You've got good M1s and a crit that leaps pretty far, guard breaks, and has a fair bit of stun to it. If you're under 20 Hakata though, it'll have less range and also have less stun, so just keep that in mind. Definitely a really strong Hakata weapon, so I'm going to put it S tier. Cutlass, a weapon that is a really cool passive. When you land the crit, you're going to gain like a 50% true damage for like 5 seconds, which is pretty cool. Your M1's really fast, and the crit is probably one of the best ones in the game. Goes fairly far, good windup, guard breaks, and it is maneuverable. So you can kind of use this like as a dodge, a gap close, or a combo extender, combo start. It does everything. It's like a perfect crit because it has like good range. And that passive is huge. The damage buff is crazy. So I'm going to put that S tier, goes without saying. Schrift, a very solid weapon. You got fast M1s and a crit that has a little bit of windup, but you have an arrow that goes very far, very fast, and guard breaks. It's more of an S key weapon in my opinion. It's basically the Nell Lance of Quincy's. You can't really be too offensive with this weapon. Like you can try to like throw a crit off, have the crit hit them, then you use a move like Nell Lance, but it doesn't really work on this one because the crit is super fast. Like Nell Lance, because it's a fairly slow projectile, by the time it gets to them, it hits them and stuns them. You can throw a move immediately. This one, not so much. So I'm going to put it A tier. It's definitely pretty solid, but I don't really like it because you can't be offensive with it. Jugrum Shield. It's got a cool passive where you gain more order when you're on balance, which is pretty cool, so you could run it for that. The M1s, though, are fairly slow in my opinion, and the crit does have slightly more windup than a Schrift, and it goes a little slower. But it does have a bigger hitbox, guard breaks, and it bounces between people, so that can be pretty good. It's kind of underrated, though, because the crit is pretty slow, but you can kind of push with it. You just throw it towards the person, they could get hit by it, or it just protects you while you push towards them like a crescent relief. So I'm probably going to put a solid A. Schrift and Jugrum are like two sides of the same coin. They're both really good for range. Schrift is more of like an S key one. Jugrum is a more aggressive one in my opinion. Full K, a pretty niche weapon. You got good M1s and a crit that has a very, very long windup. It's a lot longer than Jugrum or Schrift. It's ranged, it goes pretty far, guard breaks, and if they get hit by it, they'll be stunned in place. So it's really good for Q keto, but other than that, I wouldn't really use this weapon. I'll put it as solid B, definitely usable, but I think Schrift and Jugrum are just way better versions of it. So that's where I'm probably going to end it. The S1's really good, probably the best you could run. A, also viable, you can run them as well. B, pretty solid, but A and S are obviously better. C and D, you probably don't want to be running.